It is still winter time this side of the equator. The earth is still tilted away from us, but even if the sun is away from us, the vegetable garden is still doing pretty well. Here are some of the plants that I'm growing in my winter garden. First up, I've got some Oregon sugar pod peas. They've been doing well so far, planted side by side with some marigold flowers, and the peas themselves have started to bloom. I directly planted these peas a couple of months back, and I also built this trellis. I've got a little video that shows you how you can build your own, and this is how they've turned out so far. As you can see, they've got those beautiful white flowers. They look so delicate. There is some of the marigold that have been helping with the pest control around the plants. Just a moment of appreciation for these beautiful flowers. The next thing that I'm growing is some radishes. Now, I'm not a very big fan of radish. I mean, I eat them, but in this case, I've been using them as sort of a cover crop for me to loosen up some of the soil in my garden that hasn't really adjusted to what we are trying to achieve with this organic garden. So I planted these radishes as part of the border between my garden beds and the fence. Right next to the radish, I've got some dandelion weeds that I'm keeping as a trap crop for aphids. I'm also growing some purple cabbage from seedlings that I bought from my local garden shop. I'm also keeping another trap crop for the cabbages, which is my nasturtiums. I've got a couple of those scattered around the garden. Now, one type of cabbage that I'm excited to be growing is this Savoy cabbage. This is the only seedling that germinated out of the ones that I planted, and it seems to be doing very well so far. I'm excited about this one. Some of my purple cabbage seems to be growing more than one head, but I will deal with that later once I see which head is more dominant. Now, some of my purple cabbage has been infested by aphids, as you can see on the leaves and inside the cabbage head. It looks very terrible, but not all is lost. I've got one of my quick solutions for this one. I'm simply gonna blast them off with some water, and then I'm gonna use my neem spray in the evening just to deter new ones from coming back. and they are all gone. They all drowned just after a quick water blast. On our next garden bed, I still have that border of reddish between the garden beds and the fence. And over here, I'm growing some onions. I germinated these ones myself from seeds, and they also have companions in nasturtiums and some marigold. And on this side of the garden, I've got that dandelion trap crop right next to my rainbow Swiss chard. I've got the purple one here and the green one over there. And another exciting cabbage that I'm growing is this sugarloaf cabbage. Now this cabbage variety, I must say, has turned out to be my most favorite one. It was my first time growing it last year, and I told myself that this one will forever be a staple in my garden. Right next to it, I've got some beetroot, which is standard for every garden in South Africa. They are doing pretty well. They survived the frost. And right next to it is this lettuce. This season was also my first time growing this lettuce, and I'm very impressed by its resilience. One tip I can give you, from that big bunch that you buy at your local gardening shop, you just need to separate them so you can get even more plants from just one bunch. Next up, I've got another staple in my garden, some carrots. Now, I've only thinned them out once, and for now I'm gonna leave them just like this up until when I thin them again and I can get something to eat out of these seedlings. On this side of the garden, I've got two volunteers. The first one is this sunflower. I didn't grow these two. They just germinated by themselves just before winter started. They've been growing. This one has been doing pretty well. It has remained green throughout the frost. Now this one barely survived the frost. There were a couple of days that were windy, so it got skewed like this. So I think I'm just gonna remove this one. I don't think it has a chance of surviving. The second volunteer has been these tomato plants. They just germinated by themselves on these shaded parts of the garden. One seems to have survived the frost, but the other one is just damaged like this. To give my lone survivor a better chance, I had to trim off the flowers because it was starting to flower too early. Now these tomatoes, they came up with the self-appointed companion plant of this lovely marigold. This sage bush, it did pretty well in the frost days. It still looks pretty good, but I need to do a bit of pruning to get it ready for spring. Vegetable gardening in winter has been a bit challenging considering that I had to look out for frost, And I didn't get my wish come true of having absolutely no pests. Nonetheless, I've enjoyed as much as I could, and I'm still looking forward to harvesting these plants that are currently growing. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the video. Please leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching.